let me go ahead and make my stance clear before I get to cooking these dark skinned niggas. Hold on, man. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on.
If I snap my fingers, you forget that you're ever gay. I was never
Hold
gay.
on, son.
Exactly. Wait, no, stop. Yes. No,
Hold on,
stop.
son. Let
You
me
can't.
make sure
I
that,
was never
that
gay. Okay.
we linked
No,
in with the links
I
in.
was never gay. Sure. You can't just state something, snap your fingers, and I
Apparently,
was never gay.
apparently he can. Okay. All right, man. So I've been cooking this beef in several different ways. Listen, I am here to be the echo for this space. I am here to transcribe all these conversations into hip hop and lyric form. You'll be hearing that soon. And one of my jobs is also that when I hear something from another content creator that makes a lot of sense, it's my job to build on it. Okay. So Angry Man has done a excellent job of breaking down the dynamics in our society, basically the dynamics in the black community that allow for Drake and Kendrick to be the ultimate rage bait war, I guess. I mean, because it really exposed how a lot of people think and how y'all see. For me, I exposed how y'all see winners. Now, I've always been that nigga, and in comparison to most of the population, I am still more popping than most men. I'm more popping than most men around the world in terms of like accomplishments and because for the most part, if you live in America, period, you are more wealthy than most people around the world. All right, so doing pretty good as far as the Earth. As far as Earth go, doing pretty good. So I understand what it is for people to be competing with you, and you don't really pick up on the fact that it's competition because you don't really look at them as competition. So you don't realize when they hating on you. You don't realize when they're trying to sabotage you. You don't realize when you know what, I'm in a mood, so I'm going to attack you. Winners have a hard because winners have thicker skin. So winners have a hard time realizing, oh, this isn't good for me though. I should you get earlier. I told y'all, you can't be a winner if you're around someone or around people who are tearing you down or around people who are making you not believe in yourself. It's a difference in someone challenging you to take action and someone making you feel as though you shouldn't believe in yourself. And one of the most profound thoughts that Angry Man had was he said, if Drake would have listened to Black, well, he said it in a roundabout way, but this is what I got from it. He's basically saying if Drake would have listened to Black people, then he wouldn't have become Drake. Drake has been the walking stimulus check for the industry for I don't know how long, right? Matter of fact, you know what? I wasn't even going to do this, okay? But let's just like while we're here, we're going to go ahead and just look at some stats, okay? We're going to look at just a few stats real quick. We're going to read them. I just think it's really important that we look at these stats and that these stats get the attention that they deserve. We're going to just read these stats here. Let me just find the stats. Okay, here we go. So this is the Drake versus Kendrick official stat sheet. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure we share the screen because you need to make sure you see it because I am a content creator. So for Drake, most Billboard hits ever. For Kendrick, barely on Billboard. Why I got this picture of Kendrick just looking sad and just looking sorry? Drake 13 number one hits. Kendrick 3 number one hits. Drake 6 feet tall. Kendrick 5'5". Net worth for Drake 250 million. Net worth for Kendrick 75 million before taxes. Global ambassador of the Toronto Raptors got dunked on by a child. Owns the embassy. Kendrick Lamar rents a studio apartment. Drake got a $2 million Tupac ring just because. Old boy pawned his engagement ring for studio time. Okay, all right, it's getting a little crazy. You know what? I'm not sure if these things happen, but you know what? Because of how nasty you Kendrick fans have acted, fuck it. We're gonna go with this whole no, fuck it. It's all true. He rents a studio apartment, but he keep it clean though. All right. Takes his son to the Louvre. Uh, Kendrick takes his kids to the laundromat. Real nigga, fake Jesus, jerk chicken oxtail. Why y'all put Chef Boyardee on this nigga? Nike collab. Kendrick got a Taylor Swift collab. All right. Women throws bras on stage. Hey, no one throws tomatoes at Kendrick. Come on, man. Always trending, always hiding. Owns 2 private jets. Owes money to the IRS. Put Kendrick on. Put hit a J3 on for all the dogs. Kicks puppies. Kicks it with Victoria's Secret models. hangs with dudes who smell like patchouli, certified lover boy, certified fam. On Euphoria, Kendrick really said, "I'm the biggest hater," and then he went on to just list things that he hates about Drake. Don't get me wrong. Good lyrics do not have to be complicated. Everything doesn't have to be a metaphor. Everything doesn't have to be the most profound thing ever. I never thought Kendrick was profound. I really feel like y'all look at him that way because his character. That's the essence. His character is, I'm real hip hop. Basically, he has the golden pass. He has the gold pass to make music that's not really like radio worthy or not really like good songs like that, but you're doing a hip hop thing. People be talking about he won a Pulitzer. What does you win a Pulitzer have to do with whether or not this shit is hot? A Pulitzer Prize does not help. All right, well, where's the other albums for the niggas who won Pulitzer Prizes? I don't know why they gave you a Pulitzer Prize. I don't know why they did that. So, I mean, you okay? All right, that's like me telling you that I have the Excalibur. Got the Excalibur. All right, that's a weird flex. Six Pass has the Excalibur. Is that too much of penis? No, nigga, I have the actual Excalibur. You might as well be telling me that. You might as well be telling me that you have a piece of Noah's Ark. Now, actually, I'm going to think, why do niggas have a piece of Noah's Ark? Why do you? I don't know why they give you a Pulitzer Prize. Real talk. This your label, man. You know what's funny about Kendrick and Pusha is this, because we're gonna be getting into this whole thing of Pusha T versus Drake Part 2, and I'm gonna take you guys back to where I touched on it briefly, pause earlier, but I want to take y'all back to what the climate was and what I was thinking, and I was just like, the Pusha T track, the story added on was so underwhelming to me. I was like, it's kind of ass. I don't like this at all. You know what I'm saying, but just seeing like now, mind you, at this point, I'm listening to the Joe Budden podcast heavy, so I respect their opinions, and I'm over here, and I was literally not really swayed, but like I kind of like forgot that I was made to kind of feel like, oh well, I guess he lost. I mean, I don't know. Fuck. All right, whatever. It was like, all right, so I guess did he lose? I guess he lost. You know what I mean? Because I felt when I heard Duppy, I felt that shit. Also, it was a dope track to do a diss record over. Like back when State Property and Rough Riders was beefing, and when Rockefeller was beefing with everybody. One thing that didn't happen is they wouldn't pick a whack beat to rap their song to. You know what I'm saying? Or they wouldn't pick a track that didn't move you or have energy to it. Like a big part is most of the tracks that Kendrick put out for this beef, that most of them was ass, man. They didn't have movement to them. 616 LA is not really a diss record. You kind of just rap it. You're just doing the Kendrick shit. You just rap about random shit, and that's where you thrive. You're just a random motherfucker. That's just who you are. That's your space. Like you have like the same thing they did for Nas. I like Nas. I like all y'all. You know what I mean? You and Push all y'all. I think y'all all are good rappers. But it's a difference in the quality that someone like of music in terms of the vibe, in terms of the feel. Like the more forgettable songs in Jay-Z's catalog are still better than a lot of Nas songs. You understand that shit? Like Jay-Z can easily perform at least 2.5 hours of records that everyone knows. Where everyone who knows him would know. You know what I'm saying? And niggas will be into that shit for the whole entire like duration. You understand me? Most of these artists, that's not gonna happen. That may not never happen again. And it's mostly not happening because the men have gotten to where you're too satisfied. Hip hop, in a way, made niggas lazy because before this, we used to play instruments. We were more cultured. We were more family oriented, and being more family oriented allows for things to get passed on, for information to get passed on, because it's more interaction between, it's more intergenerational interaction. You understand me? And that's something that went on with hip hop, where the OGs didn't make it a point to make sure I'm raising someone in this shit, and that I find a young guy that rap, and I stick with him, I stay around him, so that his skill level will progress, and maybe he can become something, or maybe he can take it further. Also, help me learn about myself. Niggas didn't do that. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, maybe we can say it comes from feminism, because we gotta think about, all right, boom. If we're not prioritizing family, Without family, then we don't have the father teaching y'all long term thinking. Without long term thinking, that means there's no planning, and we definitely not planning generations ahead. Wealthy people do things that will have effects generations ahead. They think about. I heard CGA saying this shit, and he's probably right. Wealthy people are thinking about their grandkids, and how what they're going to do is going to affect their grandkids. If you're an emotional thinker, that also leads you to being a narcissistic thinker because you're unable to relate and understand other people. You do not have a desire to relate and understand other people, right? And you do not connect to people because you don't see a point and it doesn't resonate. There's levels to resonation. Doing the right thing doesn't resonate. You have no problem doing the wrong thing. It doesn't bother you to do the wrong thing. And what again, but you're more likely to feel like that if you're an emotional person. If we're all like that, what the fuck happens? But also problem solving erodes. And before I get to the problem that Pusha T never really solved, or maybe he did. But him and Kendrick and really all these niggas are doing something that again, you say that these guys are so great, but Drake never has to talk about Pusha T a day in his life. If Drake never talks about Kendrick again, it wouldn't matter. Kendrick is on tour right now, still saying Drake's name. He performs a few of the diss songs is a part of his set list. We cannot progress as a people if you let. If this is something that black folks have done for the last 30 years, especially with hip hop. Because the thing about hip hop was that it made a lot of low lives very famous. And those low lives, I think the record labels and the white folks and the so-called powers that be realized, yo, yeah, these people are really influential. And it's like somewhere in the 2010s, we just and maybe it starts with the influence of down south hip hop because down south, whether they like it or not, sometimes some of those guys, especially if they're from the hood, like the Atlanta guys and whatnot, that don't really sound the most intelligent, ain't the best at expressing themselves. Then you got these young boys coming out of Chicago and whatnot. All this was going on in the 2010s, and these was people who was pretty much raised by social media and just media in general. And these are the people who came from upbringing with no family, no tight knit family, just none of that shit. So you kind of seeing like people just seem lost, right? You know what I'm saying? But anywho, somehow black people started to kind of just tolerate and celebrate bad behavior because it wasn't being presented as bad behavior. And then we get to the 2010s with more reality shows of women just fighting, not men fighting, women fighting. The Bad Girls Club, you know what I'm saying? There's a show called Baddies right now where these girls are like the sounds of their fists hit each other's faces makes me cringe. I hate that sound. I do not like seeing women get hit. I don't like seeing anybody get hit unless they're actually like they're both fighting and they're fighters, not like you just getting fucked up in public. You over there at your local Denny's, trying to enjoy your chicken tenders, and the dude just walks up and pat poos. I be cooking. So, let's see what I got here, man. What was the first thing I wanted to share? So, I want to really share also. I think this guy right here is probably the greatest representation of how Kendrick fans think, right? And who they are, and their loser mindset. The mindset of rather than doing the work, and a lot of you dark skinned niggas be doing this shit too. You know, so this guy's dark skinned, and rather than doing what needs to be done, because that's what being masculine is. We about to look at somebody who's not doing what needs to be done in terms of what are you building on a regular basis? What is your work? How are you taking care of yourself in an honest way? Let's talk about that first, right? This is the kind of person who is always trying to figure out what is the shortcut, what is the easy way, because because that's what it means to just to embrace being a loser, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Because you're telling yourself the only way that I can get it, I can do better, is if someone just gives it to me. You understand? But let's check this. This guy's name is Chef Justice Hunter. I'll refresh it.
Seriously sue Starbucks. I found a prospective lawyer that is very confident we will win based on facts, the laws and statutes that were broken, and clear evidence. So that is a huge blessing. He says he usually charges a lot more, but because he's so confident, I got a discount, which is amazing. He's saying as soon as payment goes through, the next step will be to file a formal demand letter where we encourage them to settle. They will have legally 14 to 30 days to respond, and basically they will be forced to respond. If they don't, we will be able to take them to superior court and go into discovery. And in discovery, we will be able to request evidence such as body camera footage, footage from inside of Starbucks that night. In other words, the case will go incredibly viral. If you're familiar with my story of simply trying to buy a hot chocolate, then getting discriminated against by over 3 police officers that pulled up in 4 separate vehicles, 200 plus feet away / off of Starbucks premises, then please consider supporting financially. I really want to hold these people accountable, and I will keep you updated throughout the whole process. The very best way to support is via Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and I also have a GoFundMe where you can support anonymously. Thank you so much to everybody that's been.
So back in the 2010s and whatnot, I would have seen a video like this and I would be like, oh my God, really? Wow, it's crazy. Let me go ahead and check it out. Let me go ahead and donate. Let me see what's going on, right? After the pandemic, yo, we started seeing, for one, how easily black folks are taken in by scams and how many of us are scamming, how many of us think it's okay to lie. From that to the goddamn PPP loans. A lot of y'all really got them damn PPP loans and didn't have a goddamn business. I remember people talking about that shit. I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want no loan. It says loan in the title. I don't want no loan. But black people in general, and this is what I'm talking about, without the upbringing and the understanding ingrained in you that hard work is really important, it matters, and there's nothing, you should be proud of it. You should be look, because if you do hard work, something gonna happen. You understand? And not only that, men have to be looking at results. And again, doing what needs to be done. But going to old boy right here, this right here he is the ultimate representation and embodiment of the loser mindset, of the welfare mindset, of the let me see if I can get someone and just give it to me. Not I'm going to work my ass off to get it. So let me show you his most famous video. So what's crazy about this guy is he has an extremely um viral and successful social media presence. And listen, I would like to imagine that this is just a person hustling y'all, but this may actually be a real person, right? Let's go to this most viral video. Oh, did he take it down? Oh no! All right, so I want to show you the video that he always shares of him getting put out. You know what I'm saying? The hotel. So he's a chef, right? So he makes he makes food and everything. I may have to. Oh, here we go. Boom.
Okay. Hey, come on, come over here. Okay. Hey, come on, come over here.
Now, a lot of y'all don't understand this shit. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this. So it says, racists and bigots will blindly blame me, but the facts are I've been found not guilty of this viral clip that started it all. After uploading this video, I began getting stalked and harassed by Rocky Mount law enforcement, even though my record was literally clean. It quickly surpassed 150 million views and effectively exposed the corruption on a grand scale. This infuriated them. Shortly after I began getting stalked and harassed by RMPD, they started following me daily. They made up a bogus reason and had my only method of transportation towed, leaving me on foot with hundreds of pounds of my belongings. Then illegally trespassed me from most of my motels and hotels and the storage units in this area for no reason, making it almost impossible to have a good night's rest. It got so bad they literally made me leave my tent in the freezing cold one morning on video. I have never been a criminal. If you search my record right now, you will see I've never been found guilty of anything, just a bunch of allegations. Even still, I didn't stop them from treating me like one. Once they had me on foot, trespassed from most places, and terribly wary, I haven't slept in 5 days due to stalking. They called in a warrant. Apparently, I had missed court. I was initially accused of shoplifting. When the officers searched me and the cameras, it was determined that I had indeed shoplifting nothing. They didn't matter. He made up a bogus charge and they tossed me in jail. I had never been. I did 27 days in Johnston County on bogus charges. I had to pay $2,000. So you see all this effort that old boy has put into this shit, right? Let's get into a few things that he's saying. First of all, old boy says that these people are stalking him. So he's saying that they've got me put out of my motels and hotels. No, what happened was he didn't pay. And he was refusing to leave the room. That's the only reason why a cop would come and kick in the door. What you saw was basically he no longer had the money to pay, or either he was being evicted or they had the money. Matter of fact, he must have told them people that he wasn't leaving, and they had to come and physically remove him from there. Okay, that's probably what happened. Also, as far as these other videos about him people like this definitely shoplifting. Because again, there are people. All right. People have this thing where they don't understand that you can be someone who expresses yourself very well and still have mental health problems or still not be able to function as an adult. This is someone who needs to live with someone. There are people, a lot of people in this world cannot rock on their own where they can just totally manage. A household is very complicated to manage for most people, much less someone who doesn't have the best mental health. It's just someone who has very poor mental health. You can tell by it. A parent says a lot, because it speaks to what you prioritize, okay? And people who have these kind of problems, these are the same kind of people who think it's logical to do stuff like, I don't know if you ever heard of the sovereign citizens, right? These are people who buy into this, it's kind of like a religion in a way, but this way of thinking, but it's people who are in a bad spot will hear this stuff and say, let me give you an example. So if you're a sovereign citizen, right, basically the way that people get into this shit is because someone sells them a course. It's not free. Someone sells them a course or a series of products, and so one course could be about how to basically turn yourself into an LLC, right, and turn in your license, and basically you can basically give up your identity and kind of reinvent yourself, and basically you can say, I'm not an American citizen, I'm a sovereign citizen, so I don't have to basically follow the laws. There is no place in the world where people don't have to follow the laws of the land that they're at. They go to jail for that. Unless you're a diplomat. Apparently that's what diplomat means. It means you can go to the places and fuck shit up. Right? But anyway, we all have our own path, right? So the path we choose is the path we choose, but we have to deal with the results of that path and what we put energy into. If this guy put the same energy into producing something, he's a talented chef. He loves to cook. And that's how I first found him. I saw him cooking outside. I saw this is interesting. Then I watched more of his videos and I see, oh my God, so this nigga's a race hustler. And I'm not saying that maybe that he's never been profiled or gone through nothing with the cops and whatnot, but people who have a loser mindset are always trying to play on the idea of, I'm not doing nothing, these people are just fucking with me. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not the face of a nigga that don't be doing nothing. Okay? Let me see if I can get him back up here. That's not the face of a nigga that don't be doing nothing. This is the face of a nigga who will lie. Who will lie in your goddamn face, like he does with this whole profile. You know what I'm saying? Talented chef. My bad, man. My bad. Talented chef. You see? You know what I mean? Here's one more.
You have a shoplifter?
What's up, bud?
Wait.
What's
You
up,
have
bud?
wait. They say they got a shoplifter.
What's up, bud?
What's up? Why are you touching me? Why are you on me?
You're touching me.
Leave her alone.
It'd be appreciated if you go away, bro. You need to go. You're trespassing.
You have a shoplifter?
What's up, bud?
Wait.
What's
You
up,
have
bud?
wait. They
What's
say
up,
they got a
bud?
shoplifter.
What's up, bud?
What's up?
So he's painting that picture as if these people are randomly fucking with you. You hear this shit? People only come at you this way when you are a bum who comes to the store and steals, and they all do this shit. Everyone that's seen a crackhead or someone in the dollar store stealing, I'll never forget. You know what I'm saying? I was in the dollar store downtown North on Broadway Market, right? And I think the dude who watches the door was confronting this guy. And he basically saying, bro, just give it back or just put it back, bro, right? And the dude started arguing and shit. And at the time, I didn't really understand what I was looking at. So they go back and forth a little bit. Then eventually, he just said, all right, nigga, damn. And a bunch of boxes of toothpaste fall on the floor. So basically, he just came in there and was going to take that shit. One of the things about being a good person is I think that at times it's hard for people to understand the world, what needs to be done, problem solving and stuff like that. No, also, the reason why I'm calling this shit out, so I'm calling him out because we need to point out this loser behavior. This is loser behavior. And what you also see is that it's gotten so bad that he's recording himself in this is his whole persona. I'm someone who was a victim of police harassment. Only people who break the law. Excuse me. Only people who break the law have problems with the police. I have lived and been in urban areas my whole life. I can count on my hands how many times I've been pulled over from the time I was 21 till 30, 37, going on 38. A handful of times. Why is that? Because I don't break the law. I don't do anything to get pulled over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't be doing shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't be getting trouble. I've had a handful, and it was mostly all right. It wasn't no big. You know what I'm saying? No big deal. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times, them niggas kind of look me out. You feel me? But anywho, so losing mindset. But this is the ultimate Kendrick fan. I also want to show y'all one other version of the Kendrick fan. So this is a divester couple that I came across on Instagram. So a lot of people talk about how these kind of guys, a lot of white guys who date black women, especially if they built like this, a lot of those times those guys are gay. I'm not saying he's gay. But I'm just saying a lot of times them niggas are just loose. They loose now, mind you. So they're having fun. I mean, I'm not saying he wears a dress all the time. So he has on her gown. The whole point is for them to act like each other. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead. Let's check it out.
Literally, you're like.
That's how you walk. Stop laughing. Come on, breathe. You got this. You got this. You got this. It's just me and you.
There is no game that me and my lady could ever play where I put on not only her gown but the gown with the fur on the sleeves. This is all the behavior of a relationship where she paying. But more than anything else, those is your Kendrick Lamar fans. Nah. Oh my God. Shit, man.
Nah. Well, first of all, shut up. Mind your business.
Wanted to wrap you in my warm embrace, and I make it
Last forever. I get a glimpse of heaven when
you let
give
me
you.
wrap you in. My
Shout out to CGA. Yo, CJ got the best sound bites. I'm sorry, bro. The sound bites is too fire. Pause. Nah, man. But now, real talk. Yeah, that is the setup of nigga. She paying them bills. You see them hips? She paying them bills. If you think that a black woman that's built like that is hot to a white guy, y'all got to think about that. It's a white guy. Like what black women be spreading this, but don't get me wrong. Black men are not that judgmental when it comes to looks. Honestly, it's keeping it stacked. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I had to outgrow it, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I will still knock down Big Shirley, but I will not claim Big Shirley, and I will not wine and dine your Big Shirley. Thank you.
Drunk men is more intelligent than 3 women with PhDs.
Thank you so much.
That's
Thank you so much.
That's
Thank you so much.
That's
Niggas always gotta show they
Nigga. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get into these clips over here, man. So, yeah, man. So those are the people that I feel as though are Kendrick Lamar fans. But let's also get into someone who's actually a big Drake fan. Couldn't find out. So this is back in around 2013. So I'm assuming this is after Good Kid, Mad City came out. This is after Nothing Was the Same came out. Just judging by all the albums that Pusha T's about to list. So Pusha T had a hard time around this time was trying to find his footing as a solo artist. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of that shit was just weird. It was stiff and it was hard to kind of get into because Pusha T doesn't really have much rhythm when he raps. And he's the type of nigga like he's had moments on features. I do like Push, but Push is very much like a one. It's like he's a very niche, obscure sounding rap. A lot of that shit has to do with legacy, man. With like you just been here so long and you represent something, right? And again, people rather dark skinned dudes represent hip hop, especially if you talk that street shit, right? So around 2011, the Clips broke up. Malice wanted to become No Malice, and he wanted to start doing gospel hip hop. I think eventually, I don't think No Malice never really took off. People did not like that version of him. And also, not only that, the Clips they just work better as a group. I mean, I like the Clips, but I'm not going to act like all of it is good music. For the most part, they only sound good on Neptune's production for the most part. And even with this shit right here, I think for them, they're better with a faster BPM. Like the new record that's out now, I like the record, but I like it because it's Push and the Clips, and I cannot tell who's rapping. I could barely tell who's rapping. I'm like, y'all sound just alike. That shit is crazy. But that's a part of the appeal, and that's really important in terms of understanding your art and understanding how people want to receive or get your art. So with what they both do, y'all are better as a group. You know what I mean? So anyway, what Pusha T is talking about is struggling to find his way as a solo artist and trying to basically make good music. Because I ain't gonna lie, like Pusha's first records by himself was like, it just wasn't hitting. I don't know how to put it. Because again, he's not a versatile rapper. He's not someone who's able to switch his flow a lot. He's not really a well-rounded artist like that. You know what I mean? Again, he's very novelty. He's very much like you have to be into him.
Thank you. I am too, man.
Okay. Why are you? Well, it's been so I can imagine as an artist why you're happy, right?
Yeah, man. You know what? I was going through so much, as far as just putting out this album, and people were like, yo, your album should have been out and so on and so forth. But I personally felt like I had to retune the listener to even get used to hearing me by myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember my first couple freestyles, 2010, they were just solo and people was like, nah, that ain't it, B.
Right.
Where Malice at?
Right.
Like I've always been the brash, wordplay side of the Clips. There was a conscious side of the Clips that people just, they wanted to always hear those two sweet and sour sides together.
Yeah.
And when they didn't hear my brother, it was like, man, they weren't that receptive. So, the time it took for this album to come out, I feel like, man, I've been setting people up for this the whole way through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think now the time is actually right.
Absolutely. And I think not only did you have to tune them into getting used to listening to you solo, but you got to tune the listeners into how to listen to rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I had some help, though. I had some help with that.
What do you mean?
I had some help with that this year. And I feel like with the releases of this year, the J. Cole album, the Wale album, the Jay-Z album.
Before he finishes, when Sway does that bullshit right there and says you had to teach the listener how to listen to rap, no. You don't teach them how to listen. You come with that shit. Music is universal. People listen to hip hop, American hip hop, all around the world because and they like it because they know it's fire, right? And sometimes they don't even speak English. You understand? But the listener does not have to see. Don't get me wrong. It's a good thing for the listener to want to seek you out, to want to check you out, to want to support you. Nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to come with a product that's so good that it's undeniable because there's so much quality in it. All right? So many nuances in it. You understand? And the thing is, someone like Pusha T doesn't really necessarily understand song format. And that's one of the ways that Drake changed hip hop and everything because he made niggas have better structured songs. And he redefined what it means to have one of them joints. Pay attention to the structure, the arrangement of his joints, but it's also him mastering and understanding what the track needs. You understand? Versus doing what you want to do. Everyone just doesn't have the same sensibility. So I play that again because I'm like, yo, this is why these niggas don't get better. No one has to learn how to listen to rap. You got to come with that shit and come ready to compete. And niggas like this don't compete. Y'all can't do that shit. When someone gets to a certain level, you can't let people who rank below them by several spots be compared. Or just say, oh, all right, well, yeah, you may have accomplished everything there is to accomplish, but this guy that hasn't had any of that going on, we're going to just let him just talk reckless. Or when y'all go back and forth, we're going to just give it to him because he's the little guy in the situation. People feel sorry for the little guy. People hate you if you are the winner. Do you understand that? They hate you if you're the winner. And in their minds, they relate more to a loser than a winner. That's why they like these niggas, man.
Album, the Wale album, this year, and I feel like with the releases of this year, the J. Cole album, the Wale album, the Jay-Z album, the Drake album, Kendrick Lamar. Like I feel like it's a wave going on right now. It's a wave of like getting back to lyric-driven hip hop and that wave is I gotta say it's helping me.
Yeah, nostalgia.
So I bring this shit up because recently couldn't find out around last year, 2024. I remember hearing about this record, a Kendrick Lamar and Clips record called Whips and Chains. Never came out. I swear, you dark skinned niggas love talking about being slaves. But anyway, it was called Whips and Chains, so it never came out. I forgot all about it, right? So the story is, in order to make sure that this record got put out, right? This nigga spent over $1 million buying himself out of his contracts so he can put this record out. The record is supposed to be a Drake diss. And at the time, UMG allegedly blocked it because they didn't want the optics of basically two people that Drake has beef with. That basically, what they have in common is that people allow themselves to get caught up in the whole light skin versus dark skin thing. Who's more of a nigga type of thing. To the point where even like white folks can get caught up in that whole thing. You know what I mean? Because in their mind, they think, all right, well, seems to be a big deal to y'all, so we're gonna just try to support it. I feel like it's kind of like the whole like Palestine thing. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Pusha over here. She made a really good observation about how Pusha actually helped. He's helping the case with UMG and Drake. Hate it. I told y'all, there's always going to be a consequence from building your fortune, your career off the back of someone else or to someone else's detriment. Especially in something like hip hop. Especially if given you're trying to make a point about you are one of the pure elites and so forth and so on, right? And whereas we can see you contradicting yourself. So this kind of came up because Pusha also mentioned Drake in an interview, and he said he doesn't rate Drake anymore because it's just basically trying to make this stupid ass point about because Drake is suing because of a rap beef. I don't respect him. Who gives a fuck if Pusha T respects Drake? Why? And that's one more thing to it. I gotta ask y'all this shit, right? Why do you think Drake would care about what Kendrick has to say? Because Drake was the one who had the star power to get Kendrick popping. When he was a rapper you would see on the blogs. That nigga wasn't going nowhere. If he didn't get that look from Drake, he was going nowhere. But he already hated that nigga before he met him. Because Drake was famous before him. He was successful before him. Kendrick didn't really start having money until 2014. That's after Poetic Justice came out. Because before, and he talked about this shit too, they was dead broke before that Drake tour. It was when Kendrick Lamar went on that Spotify tour, which was one of the first sponsors he had. You don't think it's odd for someone who does what he does to have these kind of sponsors to be getting connected with people like Drake? You would have never seen that shit before. But part of that shit was also because the Drake. I believe it's between either Drake's relationship with SZA or his relationship with Dr. Dre. Because Drake actually did go to a writing camp for Dre one time. You know what I'm saying? So it could be that. But we got to keep discussing the levels, man. Kendrick never had the star power to make it on his own. It's like he can't do now. He's not getting your attention with putting out songs that people really enjoy. You guys are celebrating him for basically for hating on Drake. And it's as simple as that. But going back to how Pusha is helping this case, what he's proven is that UMG made a conscious effort to make sure that Kendrick Lamar looked as good as possible in the public eye. So they didn't want him on that record with Pusha T because it's like, nah, it's not going to be a good look. The optics will be bad. It's going to look as though we're funding a whole attack on him, something like that. You know what I mean? Or it's going to be conflict of interest. But I'm going to let Pusha break this down. I've been rambling for a little bit. We doing the show, baby. Doing the show.
Like to say thank you to Pusha T. If it wasn't for his yapping, we might not have gotten such a critical piece of information.
Yep.
So Pusha T is alleging that Def Jam, who is under UMG's umbrella, refused to release the new song with the clips featuring Kendrick Lamar because they didn't like the optics of Drake's two biggest enemies, which is Pusha T and Kendrick Lamar, coming together to make a song, which allegedly is a diss record. So Pusha T says that when Def Jam refused to release the song and asked them to take Kendrick Lamar off of the song, they fought back and they said no, they weren't going to take Kendrick Lamar off the song because, newsflash, they need him on the song in order to sell records. Anywho, they weren't going to take him off the song. So Def Jam ended up releasing the clips as a group and releasing Pusha T as a solo artist. They ended their contract because of one song. I'm going to say that again for the slow people in the back. Def Jam, who was under UMG's umbrella.
Yeah, baby. I'm going to go ahead and expand real quick, baby. Don't worry about that. I got this, babe. Listen, that's my TikTok girl. I got mad love for her. She be showing up on screen looking pretty. So, how thirsty is that? You realize how much money it took? This is all for the sake of being able to attach yourself to Drake. These niggas are in their 50s. And I love the clips, man. But you can't make the argument that you're better than someone like Drake. You're above Drake. You know what I'm saying? You're on some different some moral standard when you are fighting like hell to put out a record so that you can attach yourself to that person. That's the whole point of beat. Even with Kendrick. Kendrick, listen, you could tell it was like, I'm so happy this is working. I'm so happy this is working. He looks like, wow, I've always wanted to be this popular. Look at all the attention I'm getting. Everything that Kendrick did goes against the character that y'all say he is. if he's a guy that is of a high moral standing, right? Let me tell you something. Whenever people do not acknowledge their ops and their competition in a respectful way, especially if you're going to war, it's disrespectful as fuck. You never do that. That is a sign of poor sportsmanship. That is a sign of ill intent, and that's also an attack. When you compete with someone and whatnot, you always shake their hand at the end. All competitors always shake hands or hug at the end because the competition is over, it's done. He made it seem like no, the storyline that we're gonna go with is that, yo, I just hate you, my nigga. I just hate you because you're more popping than me. The bitches like you more than me. No, we're not doing that shit, bro. We're not doing that shit. If these niggas work that target, Kendrick might have blown this nigga car up. Kendrick will be trying to get Drake fired every day. Kendrick will be lying to the supervisor about Drake every day. He be finding ways to drug this nigga and make him late to work 4 or 5 hours and get him fired. He'll try to get Drake fired. Anyway, let me go back to my baby real quick. Go ahead, babe.
Release the clips and Pusha T. That's 2 contracts. They released 2 contracts because of one song, because they did not want to release one song. So, long story short, Pusha T and the Clips ended up getting a distribution deal with none other than Roc Nation. Raise your hand if you're surprised. We know Roc Nation's part in all of this. We know Jay-Z is a hater. We know Jay-Z is mad that Drake is taking over and is going to go down in history as the GOAT. And he wanted to be the GOAT. He wanted to go down as in history as the greatest rapper of all time. But now he knows Drake is, so he's behind all of this. He's doing everything in his power to keep the circle and the wheel of hate going. Okay.
Let me explain that real quick. No, Hov is still a GOAT, but Drake has surpassed Hov. And I remember I first heard Funk Flex say that, and I was surprised. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" More so because Funk Flex wasn't always the biggest supporter of Drake, right? And so it was surprised to hear him say that, right? But when I thought more about Drake's ability and the things that Drake can do, or just listen to an old J track, listen to a Drake track, I'm like, you know what? Drake is able to do a lot more things than Jay can. And not only that, Drake is capable of having those really ill verses that have wordplay, that have truth to it. So in a lot of ways, Drake the rapping portion of him is a lot like Hov. It's a good like mix between Wayne and Hov. If you think about how Drake raps, it's kind of what the rapping side of him sounds like. But also Drake has the sensibility to do different kind of flows, and he inherited Hov's ability to find pockets. Because that's another thing too. Drake is also, that's what he understands. He's able to create and find new pockets inside of a song to make sure it sounds like the best song possible, right? And it's something that you would say that Jay kind of started because again, like Jay had a way of sounding very natural over a song. It was because for one, he wasn't writing it down, and so there was because when you read and rap at the same time, it's kind of tough to be as sharp over the beat. You feel me? But anywho, but I can see with competitive nature, and this is hard to understand. When people are in competition, this is what it looks like. The nigga that's competing with you is not rooting for you to win, necessarily. If anything, in his mind, he's trying to do things to make it harder for you to win. So, like, yo, that shit could be totally legit. You feel me? And that's what it is. And listen, Hov went through the same thing. And he may kind of feel like, Hov may also feel like, and I mean, this is kind of legit. He may feel like, yo, if you're really to go, I want to see what you do in this adversity because Hov went through all these same things. He went through the shit with Nas. None of these niggas could ever really fuck with Hov like that. But when Hov decides to respond to niggas, he wound up, going back and forth with niggas. But Hov would really be he'll be throwing shots. It wasn't all out disses, but Hov was like willing to like go at niggas because Hov came from battle rap.
We know Jay-Z is behind this. But anywho, that's a story for a different day. So they're releasing the song with Kendrick Lamar under Roc Nation's distribution. But the reason why I say thank you, Pusha T, is because we now know that UMG does have the ability to stop a song from being released. If an artist is under a record contract, if an artist is under a distribution deal, it does not matter what kind of deal they're under. UMG has the power to stop the song from coming out. Now, if you'll recall, in UMG's response to Drake as to why they didn't stop Not Like Us from coming out, it's because of freedom of speech. They did not want to infringe on Kendrick Lamar's freedom of speech. But you're perfectly fine with infringing on Pusha T and the Clips and Kendrick Lamar's freedom of speech when it's a song for them. You're okay with that? That doesn't make sense. So I would just like to thank Pusha T for giving us this little tea. Am I doing it right? Isn't this what you girls do when tea is dropped and you clock it? Clock it, isn't that what it is? I don't know. But thank you, Pusha T, because you have now single-handedly debunked UMG's argument that they were just looking out for and trying to respect Kendrick Lamar's freedom of speech. And that's why they went forward with distributing Not Like Us, which was defamatory against Drake.
Thanks, babe. That was awesome. She brought that shit down perfectly. Let me tell you something. She right. Yo, again, you're gonna always pay the price. Because what happens is when you get too caught up in desire, when you too thirsty, you won't really realize you're making a mistake. You're exposing your hand. They didn't have to tell anyone that they paid this money. Maybe it got out. I don't know. Maybe it just leaked out. Pause. But you left your label over one song. But it shows the confidence in your skill level. Because you both did not develop your sound enough to stand on your own. Y'all all want to use the boy, man. If you decide to be truly great, for you men out there, if you decide to be truly great, you gotta understand you're walking the path of the one meaning by yourself. People will join you and they will be with you on your journey at times, but at some point they will have to leave, and you have to be comfortable walking the path of the one. Subscribe to the channel, man. I love y'all, man. Hope y'all be safe out there. Let's go ahead and end with a round of applause. Love y'all.